Okay, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakat Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach the Bible in 100% truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, starting with the 144,000, consisting of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in the land of North, Central, and South America, as well as the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners living amongst the other nations. Shalom to you. Okay, today I'm looking at a particular article that I got here from the Telegraph. This is dated 24th of November 2023. And this is surrounding events that took place in Ireland. I believe it's Dublin last week. And I did try and do this video a couple of days ago, but haven't really been feeling too great, so it's been a bit of a delay in me getting this video out. But you can see the headline here. It says, "Any foreigner, just kill them. How far right hooligans used WhatsApp to organise Dublin riots." And this is one of the voice messages that went out. "Any effing foreigner, anyone, just kill him. Just effing kill him." Now, we're looking at prophecy. We understand where it's going. We've got the prophecy of World War III and we've got the MOTB. Now, the prophecy of World War III seems, good to go. Everything seems set up. People have sort of assumed their particular positions and so on and so forth. So, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai could just let that prophecy come to pass, in full completion whenever he's ready, whenever the Most High is ready. But in the meantime, we're waiting for this MOTB to come to pass, and that particular fulfillment of that prophecy is going to bring a lot of trouble, a lot of drama, a lot of distress, a lot of problems around the globe. And so this is the next major prophecy we're waiting to take place. 2024. You've got a lot of things that are leading us towards the fulfillment of the MOTB. You've got the financial crisis, the up and coming financial crash which we're expecting, and with that you've got people struggling financially. You've got the cost of living crisis, and eventually this will develop into mass famine, mainly in Babylon the Great, and plus other parts of the world. There'll be shortages, some supply shortages, so on and so forth. Looking at 2nd Ezra 15, this describes some of the events that are due to take place in that time. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, and when you look at verse 16, it says, "For there shall be sedition amongst men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So this pretty much points to civil unrest. Sedition amongst men is members of the public speaking up against the government, against the particular powers that be, and highlighting their wrongdoings. And then this obviously causes uproar amongst the general mass population, and this can lead into rioting and civil war. When it reaches its full peak at that level, it becomes a civil war. So this is an event that, like I say, could take place in many places around the globe. We've seen many places around the globe which are models for the actual collapse. You have the banking elites, that they are in control of the financial system, and the beast system is pretty much ridden by America, Babylon the Great. So the banking elites are pretty much destroying this economy, this system. Any problems that you see in society, lack of resources, corrupt, underhand dealings with politicians. You've got these inventions of these diseases. You've got these diseases that are man-made, put together and put out there. Like we had in 2020 and 2021, we've got these scenarios that have come to pass, and they're due to come to pass in the near future. Bill Gates is talking about other things that should be happening, warning people to watch out for the next one, as it's going to be a major one. So you've got all these little events that are taking place, and they're all leading to the introduction of the MOTB. You have order out of chaos, and the chaos that is building up around the globe, and especially Babylon the Great, because we concentrate on America. There is disorder being brought about, unrest, and people are unhappy with their circumstances. Even the fact you have immigration. In America, they're opening up the borders and letting in immigrants into the country, which are ultimately taking jobs, driving forth this financial crisis, and again generally bringing people into unhappiness, initial inhabitants of those particular lands. And this is the same problem in that particular article that I've highlighted today. In Ireland, you've got a lot of immigrants that are being brought in. The powers that be are supposedly trying to solve this immigration crisis. You've got these wars going on, people trying to flee their particular land. People are claiming refugee status because their life is in danger. And it's not just Ukraine or the Middle East. There's other places around the world, Africa and so on and so forth. Even in India, you could be living as an alphabet person in India or China or Africa, and you can claim that your life is under threat, and this westernized society will protect you because you are an alphabet person, so they'll let you in as a refugee because your life is in danger. So you got these things that are being brought about, and the powers that be are letting them escalate, they're letting them develop, and eventually all these problems will take hold, and there will be chaos and problems, mainly in Babylon the Great, and like I say, other parts around the globe. So then you'll have a lot of unrest of people, and you'll have sedition amongst men, speaking up against the governments. What's propelling that is the fact that we're out here with these scriptures, with this truth, and we're giving you this word. We're telling you of the plans of these banking elites and what they're due to bring about. We're telling you of World War III, and we're telling you of the MOTB. So people are waking up, and people are starting to speak up and stand up against these governments. And with the situation that's taken place in the Middle East that kicked off on the 7th of October, that is creating a huge divide. So now you have people that are, people are waking up to the small hats. They're saying, they're realizing what these people are about. They're looking through the history of the empire. They're realizing this is how they've taken hold of the empire, and it's all starting to be, come to the surface. The lies that they've hidden in the educational system are being brought out, and the leaders of bringing out this truth, this information, are those that come in the name of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. So this is all propelling us towards this, for sedition amongst men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. People are going pretty much, especially in Babylon the Great, America, it's going to get to a point where all hell breaks loose. They're going to bring a famine of the word, and they're going to try to implement this MOTB. They're going to try and reduce the truth being spoken on the internet at the same time to stop information being spread. They'll come with a false flag event. Could be a similar situation to what you had in 2020 and 2021, or something else. And ultimately, these things will propel, bring down this financial system, give them the reason to usher in the new MOTB, the digital system, and generally become more draconian on the people. In the introduction of the MOTB is a very draconian measure, because you now have digital track and trace on the human population, and ultimately you become their god by implementing, feel the powers that be, and you implement that MOTB in the masses. You become their power, because you now have total control over them. You know where they are, you can shut their money system off, so on and so forth. And who knows what they can do with these 5G signals that they send out, these radio waves, that are affecting humans. Whatever, they want to put things within you, and they want to send signals to you. So this is all affecting the human race. So this is where where they're going with it. And the scriptures tell you, just as they think they've got to the point where they've completed this particular plan, just as they sit down to eat, and Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai will come crashing through the sky and interrupt that process. But that process is going to bring a lot of strife, a lot of trouble, a lot of judgment, death, injury, a lot of abuse, a lot of torture, and a lot of famine to people around the globe, especially all the population of America, Babylon the Great, except the elect, the chosen few of the nation of Israel that are there at the minute. This is Isaiah chapter 25. This, as you can read the headline, it says a song of praise for the Most High's favour. Just to give you an example, verse 1 says, O Yahweh, thou art my power, I will exalt thee, I will praise thy name, for thou hast done wonderful things. Thy counsels of old are faithfulness and truth. And so when you jump down to verse 5, it says, Thou shalt bring down the noise of strangers as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with the shadow of a cloud. The branch of the terrible ones shall be brought low. Now, there are two types of strangers. You can have an Israelite who's living amongst the other nations, who doesn't know his customs of his own people or his laws, and that Israelite can be considered a stranger. But this stranger here is talking of the other nations. They are a different type of stranger, and this is speaking of that great judgment in the valley of Yehoshaphat. It says that thou shalt bring down the noise of the strangers as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with the shadow of a cloud. The branch of the terrible ones shall be brought low. And in this mountain shall the Lord of hosts make unto all people a feast of fat things, a feast of wines on the lees of fat things full of marrow, of wines of the lees well refined. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. He shall swallow up death in victory, and the Lord Yahweh will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off all the earth, for Yahweh have spoken it. So Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai is bringing in this change of worlds. Esau is the end of the world, the Edomites that are ruling at the minute, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow. So part of that process is to destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. And that's what's happening now. The veil is being lifted. Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ezekiel, I think it's 37, I want to say chapter 37, the Great Awakening is taking place, and Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai has put the Spirit on his prophets out here to speak. Revelation 11:11 speaks of great fear falling upon those that see these two witnesses speak. And we understand this truth. You have two particular parties, groups of people who understand this truth in its entirety. You have the ruling elite of the Edomite Empire, and you have those that have the spirit of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai put upon them today to speak this truth. Two groups, if you like, two groups of elitists within each nation, Israelites and the Edomites. But the people in between that, they don't have a clue what's going on. They've been living under this veil for 500 odd, 600 odd years, and they've been blinded to some of the information and the history, so that they're not understanding of what's really happening. And now that we're here, we're explaining this truth, we're showing you how close we are. These people, they're not understanding it, they're not seeing it the way that we can. These elites, great fear has fallen upon them, because when we stand up and speak this word in the name of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, and we break down their plans to a T, fear falls upon them. And we're giving you the truth, we're giving you the correct line up through history, and we're matching people, in history. We're matching them up with the people today and who they are through the understanding of these scriptures. And that is not no easy thing to do. So the fact that we're doing that, the fact that these elites of the Edomite Empire have spent millions to hide that particular information and keep it out of the school system, now they're seeing us speak it, and they realize we understand who we are. We're waking up back to who we are. So we're bringing out this truth, we're exposing it, and this information is out there. People love to call some of this stuff that we teach, conspiracy theory, but now people are waking up to it. And when it comes to this MOTB, this very draconian measure, people are going to be, they're going to realize, it's this, trying to belittle somebody by using the phrase conspiracy theory will that will carry no weight when the MOTB comes to pass, because now the ultimate conspiracy theory, the ultimate draconian measure, the ultimate Big Brother situation would have occurred, and the whole world will be affected by it. So a lot of these scoffers, a lot of these gainsayers, that's when they have to be silent. Scriptures tell you, and then it shall be known who are my chosen. So it says here, and it will destroy the mountain, this government, this power system, this Edomite system that we live under, the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. So this goes back into us speaking this truth, and then the truth getting out there, people waking up, and then sedition amongst men, something that's going to be building up. The anger has to build up between the populations of people, especially in Babylon the Great, America. And like I say, some of the events that we see around the globe, we've seen rioting, we've seen for example, we had financial crashes in certain countries, so we've seen people demanding answers for that. We've had violent events take place that they're linking with the terror ISTs. So these type of events will be taking place in America, Babylon the Great, during the times of Jacob's trouble, and so on and so forth. And so now again you've got this situation in Ireland where they're having enough of the immigrants that have been let in, and it's causing this upheaval, this unrest is causing violence, which is, as you can see pictured here on the screen. So like I say, these are all events, these are all small models, and when you add up these models, even in Iceland, for example, you've got these you've had X amount of earthquakes happen. I think it was last week, had so many thousands of earthquakes in one day, again according to scriptures. So you've got to take all these mini events, because they are mini events, just to happen in Iceland, just to happen in Dublin, just to happen in the Middle East, these mini events, and when you add them up and put them all together and make those problems all occur at once inside America, Babylon the Great, that great melting pot, that's when you've got Jacob's trouble. And all these things, you won't have to ask, are we in Jacob's trouble? You're going to know, because all these things are going to be taking place. There's going to be a financial crash. People are going to be robbing each other. You're going to be struggling for food. You're going to see people starving. People will be getting raped, pretty much. People will be trying to invade government buildings. And the system, will totally flatline. And that's when, that's when these elites, that's what they want to bring it to. They want to bring it to that chaos, so that they can then say to you, we have new order. The new order is the MOTB, digitization, the ultimate Big Brother, the ultimate track and trace on the human being. And many people will accept it, many people will fight against it, and then it brings in other problems. And that's when you have, obviously, martial law will be declared in America. People will be beheaded for this truth. They could be beheaded for speaking this word. They could be beheaded for refusing the MOTB. At the minute, again, you see, we have the situation happening in the Middle East, and they're linking it with the Hebrew Israelites. And they've got these agents that are standing up, making statements, making certain gestures in the media, And what the media are able to do is link that with the Hebrew Israelites. That gives them a reason to shut down this word. That brings the famine of the word, which they will want to bring a restriction on the truth on the internet. They'll want to bring that just before they bring these huge draconian changes. And we keep telling you, at some point, you better get this word now, because at some point Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai will remove his prophets from view. And then so at that point, these people out here that have not taken the word seriously, they'll be out there on their own. They'll be wondering, is the Spirit working with them? And that's when it's time to find out, the time of Jacob's trouble. That's when you really find out the time of Jacob's trouble. A lot of people got all these different opinions of themselves, whether they're teaching, whether they're not. Some people claim to be Hebrew Israelites, and they'll go and sit down at Christmas dinner in about 4 weeks' time and share presents out with their family. So these are normal people on the street that are claiming to be Hebrew Israelites, following paganistic customs. So when it comes to Jacob's trouble, that's when we're going to find out if the Lord's dealing with you. Whoever you are as an individual. This goes out to every member of the nation of Israel, because only some of you are the elect. So come the time of Jacob's trouble, we'll find out if the Lord's dealing with you. So back to this article. So they're doing all these things, like I say, to bring in this famine of this word. This is the Telegraph, dated the 24th of November. And like I say, it's due to the issues that are happening in Ireland. They're letting in immigrants all the time. They say they've got this. That's another reason why they should bring in this MOTB, this digitization, the track and trace on the human being. Because I've mentioned it before. You've got so many wars going on, so many people being displaced, so much immigration, people having to move around. They talk about this world becoming a smaller place in terms of connectivity, just being able to jump on a plane and go here and there and everywhere. And so, what's the best way to track and trace people is to give them a digital ID. So when you cross borders, the currency doesn't make a difference because it's all digital. It's not going to fluctuate like we have currently with the fiat system. And then you'll just have, all your identification details will automatically be in that chip. So you cross from border to border to border as your refugee. They'll say, well, it doesn't matter because we can track and trace this guy. And so, you've got these wars, you've got people being displaced, and, amongst all the other problems that are on display at the minute, this one, just like them, they will escalate, get to the point where, it becomes too chaotic around the world, especially in America, Babylon the Great. We're really watching America, and when it becomes chaotic, then they will say, look, we've got some draconian changes, the MOTB. Like I say, they'll at that time they might unleash another one of those things that they unleashed in 2020 and 2021. This is ultimately the Edomites with this agenda, the elites of the Edomite, the ruling elites of the Edomite nation. But this is also Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, bringing the plagues that he's due to be brought to this earth, and especially America. So we're heading in that direction. So any unrest online is another reason to restrict freedom of speech online, and that's what you're seeing here with this situation here. It got out of hand. Immigrants have been taken over to Ireland in droves, and when you go on YouTube, you'll find pictures of people in Ireland. The Irish people go back to Israelites. They come through that bloodline. That's why, say 50, 60, 70 years ago, there was a lot of racism in England. If you went to an English pub, it'd say to you, on the door, it'd say no Irish, no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. And the Irish pretty much got similar treatment to the so-called blacks, because ultimately they come through the same bloodline. The curses fall upon them. So many Irish are actually Israelites. However, they don't realize it. They look at themselves in the mirror, and maybe their family, their bloodline has been mixed with Edomites, and they look like an Edomite. So here they are today, complaining that these foreigners who are probably Israelites living under curses have been brought over. They're complaining and they're out there on YouTube filming it all the time. Okay, look what they've done, look at this, look at that. You know, you got Ireland's a very countryside place. You know, it's not big built up city type environment, so it stands out. You know, it's not a multicultural like America, the great melting pot. It's not that multicultural place. So to take groups of 30, 40, 50, 100 immigrants and dump them into one town at one time is very noticeable. And so obviously they have an issue with it. People are speaking up against it on social media. Last week, 3 Irish children were attacked with a knife. People went online, claimed that it was a foreigner, and you know, all hell broke loose. These people, you know, sedition amongst men. They pretty much spoke up against the government. They said, let's go out there, let's show them that we mean business. They caused all this chaos. You get a glimpse of what's happening on the screen there. And then it comes out that the person who committed the attack was actually Irish anyway. He'd been an Irish national for the last 20 years. He wasn't a foreigner. So you get a lot of these like false flags, and they're many false flags, but they're all leading to restricting the truth online. You know, this thing was fueled online, and ultimately the wrong message went out, and it caused all this. And then the truth came out. They said, oh, well, actually, it wasn't a foreigner who committed the attack. It was actually an Irish person. So, you know, you just messed up your whole town for nothing. So let's read it. But like I say, you know, this is like, oh, we got to stop the truth going out online, because look what it's causing. Too much freedom of speech. Eventually, this will bring in famine in the world. This is all going to come about as all these events build up and escalate, accumulate together, and develop and turn into Jacob's trouble. When they implement that MOTB, when they restrict this truth online, and in Jacob's trouble, all hell breaking loose. It says, hours after a lone knifeman plunged his weapon into 3 young school children on the streets of Dublin, a call to arms was made. A small but vocal minority took to social media to instigate the worst night of rioting the Irish capital has witnessed in decades. Their fury was stoked by unsubstantiated online reports that the man who attacked the children were from Algeria. The chilling aim of the riots, for one so-called patriot, kill all foreigners. At 7 o'clock, be in town, everybody bally, in a balaclava up, towel up, and any effing jippo, foreigner, anyone, just kill him, just effing kill him. Let's get this on the effing news. And a Dublin man said in a voice message to anti-immigration WhatsApp group entitled Enough is Enough. Over the next few hours on Thursday evening, chaos unfolded. Riot police were attacked, vehicles set on fire and shops looted along one of Dublin's most famous thoroughfares, O'Connell Street. In one video clip, a group of young men were wearing balaclavas and branded tracksuits entered a McDonald's and emerged moments later declaring they had stolen one of the restaurant charity boxes used to collect money for a children's hospital in the city. So these people, you know, they've gone out to, you know, stand up for their rights and let the government know they're unhappy, and they've ended up robbing charity boxes. And so, you know, you could say, well, maybe someone set up to do that within the group, maybe the whole group set up, but this is all attached to, you know, this online freedom of speech. And just like we have, you know, Apostle Tahar talks about the ninjas in America running up into these stores, which is a common occurrence now. You've always got somebody filming it. You never got nobody trying to stop it. And this is a build-up, and eventually they will say, look, we need to stop this. You know, we need to just have this MOTB, this ultimate track and trace. Not just track and trace on the humans, but track and trace on any products that the humans grab and leave the store with. So, you know, you're human, they can track and trace you. You run up in a store, they can track you. Anything you grab, you run out the store, it pings off whatever goods have just left the store off the RFID. You know, the actual goods will have codes, so once they pass through the barrier, they'll ping off, so they know what items, ping, 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 ping. They know what all the 5 items that you just picked up and ran out of the store with. They know who you are, because they picked you for you to scan yourself to get into the shop, they picked up your identification straight away. So that situation that's happening in America is also happening in the UK quite a lot. You've got these ninjas, these gremlins, these hood rats, these street kids that are running up into stores in groups of 20, 30, 40, 50. I mean, even 2 months ago in Manchester in UK, I saw one article where there were like 1,000 teenagers all rolled up at the same time in the same place in Manchester city centre in the UK. And next thing you know, they were doing the same thing. They bombarded the store, and I can't really remember what happened, but chances are things were stolen. So this is happening in Western society quite a lot, and it's propelled online by social media, and eventually they're going to say we need to restrict this word. There's chaos. We need to bring new changes. There's New World Order, there's MOTB, and some people aren't going to like it, some people will. And what we're going to do in the meantime, we're going to restrict this freedom of speech online. Famine of the word. This is one video clip. That was the money boxes. Ireland's oldest department store, Arnott's on Henry Street, was also attacked, with a gang breaking in and ransacking its shelves shortly after it had closed. Shoplifters laughed and shouted as they carried mannequins out of the 180-year-old establishment. The store's chief executive said on Friday the scenes had left his staff, some of whom were reportedly still in the store at the time, shaken. So this is the type of stuff you can see them doing. They've gone up there to stand up for these 3 young children that were stabbed, and stand up for their rights and their country, and they end up doing this. They actually attack the establishment of their own country. So it develops into that, and this is all fueled online. This is all fueled by anti-immigration. They'll also, these people will also bring into the mix cost of living crisis. Why are you bringing immigrants in here when we have a cost of living crisis? People living in Western society, especially in the UK, in the general population, they're aware that this place is done. You go to all the national institutions and they're falling apart. You go to the NHS for healthcare, it's falling apart. You go to the police, they won't come out for certain call-outs, petty call-outs. They won't come out and help you. So, what these British people have grown up and witnessed, this British standard is very eroded, well out the window. And this new generation of people, doesn't matter, these are, like I say, these are Irish people. They go back to the descendants of Israelites. They look like Edomites, but this is just like those hood rats in America, carrying out the same type of events. Because ultimately they're all under the same curses. This is a footlocker, and that's why judgment has to go out all around the world, because there are Israelites spread out, scattered into 4 corners of the earth, and they're all wicked, and they're doing all this dumb stuff, and living dumb lives. Hip hop music has reached them all around the world. The drugs have reached them all around the world. They've been lied to all around the world. So ultimately, Yahweh Shai has to judge these people and fix them and set them straight. And this is the type of people. This is our people, pretty much. This is what our a royal priesthood, a nation of priests and kings. This is what they've. It's the same thing in America, same thing in Ireland, in the UK, wherever you go. This is what our people are reduced to. There's a Foot Locker outlet on O'Connell Street was looted and remained closed yesterday. Don't forget, this is all for protection of those 3 children, those 3 young children. And after some of its stock was stolen, its front windows were smashed, all in aid of those 3 children that got stabbed. So the violent anti-immigration rioters quickly turned their ire on police, one of whom was seriously injured. A lone unarmed policeman was filmed being encircled and tackled by a group of young men on O'Connell Bridge. At one point, a young man set alight a cardboard box, throwing it inside an unoccupied parked police car. As onlookers cheered and the vehicle caught fire, rioters fired flares and fireworks at police officers, several of whom were injured, one seriously. As the night unfolded, images resembling war zone emerged as a tram and double-decker bus were set alight in the city centre. So again, now all for those girls that got stabbed. They're doing it for the girls that got stabbed. They're going out there, speak up against their government, let them know that they're unhappy, and this is the result. When they wake up the next day and they go out into their town centre, certain stores they can't use, certain parts of the town they won't even be able to go into because they'll have to fix it all up. It'll take months. But all for the 3 young children that got stabbed. The driver of the bus, whom is from Mauritius but had lived in the country for 15 years, told Irish media that rioters had stopped the bus at traffic lights and started banging on the windscreen, telling him, "Get out of the bus or we will kill you." The rioting appeared to be well planned. So, again, a lot of these events seem well planned. Protesters told each other to spread out to make it harder for police to stop the rampage. Now, I'll come back to this, but, while I'm reading this is what it is. All these events, they're very well planned. The financial, economic crash, the people, towns and cities being overrun with immigration, people being forced into following draconian laws, like I say, with the things that happened in 2021, all these, and that will happen again very soon. So, all these things seem to be very well planned. You've got these BLM people that go out and protest and, just stand up for basically alphabet rights and these bunch of rights that don't help anybody. This seems to be well planned. What you had, all these types of these things that are happening around the world seem very well planned. Even the situation in the Middle East, the Small Hats came out with a story. They said, look, we were attacked, so now we're going to go on the rampage and we're going to destroy these people, which they're doing. And when we look into it deeper, we realise that it's actually probably the Small Hats that created the scenario, order out of chaos. And what did they do? They well planned it. And when I look at the word well planned, actually, I just want to bring out. So you have the situation in the Middle East, and they're now stopping apparently for 4 days, have a ceasefire so they can release these hostages. And you've probably all seen the news. You've seen these hostages being released. And what I found funny about these hostages is that they don't look that stressed. They don't look like they've been in torture or captivity for a very long time. You look at this. Look, these are the Thai guys, some of the Thai nationals. Do these people look like they've been tortured and held hostage by these Hamas for how many weeks, months, days, whatever? These people look like they haven't even skipped one night's sleep in the last how many years? Fresh faced, clean shaven, everything. So does this really look like someone who is being released from hostage crisis? Look at this young boy here. Look, no stress on the face, just wondering where he's going. Even the Hamas, they look very clean. These, for people that are involved in a war, people that are under pressure, Hamas are on the small side, right? They're on the underdog side. So shouldn't it be every man hand to the pump? But this guy looks like he's, he just joined today, got given his uniform today. Even this lady, no dirt, no, look, her hair's nice and clean and washed. No dirt, no stress, no drama. Clothes are very clean. This seems like a well-planned event. See, this lady, she just looks like they woke her up out of bed and she's just like, where are you taking me to? They don't look like people who have been hostages. Now, you may come across other images where you look at people and you say, well, they do look like genuine hostages, but I just found it quite interesting. Every time I saw particular pictures of these hostages being released this weekend, they look very well kept for people who are apparently hostages. The soldiers look very clean. This could all go back to that, very well planned event. The world is a stage, and we realize it when we have this truth, this understanding, and those that don't quite fully realize it, when Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai comes and the kingdom of heaven is set up, you're going to realize how deceitful this empire that we're living in is. That we see all these events and they're all psyops, they're all planned events or predictive programming, and they set you on a path and they lead your mind into the various schools of thought, and with that it gives them the go ahead to say, well, we're going to do this, that and other, this, that and the other, and people accept it. There's very little, I'll put it like this, there's very little in this particular society, in this kingdom, in this time that we're living in. There's very, very little out there that's actually truthful and sincere and straightforward and correct. Even when you're watching sporting events, there's a whole type of manipulation going on. You watch a boxing match and it's very clear that one particular person won, but the judges will give it to the other guy. So there's corruption is, like a cancer, has infiltrated everything upon this earth, and it's actually easier to list the things that are left that are true and sincere in this time that we're living in. There's very little. And so all these events that happen, these so-called bad events, disasters, a lot of them are pretty much planned. As we go back through history, you pick an event, you name a disaster that took place, and 99.9% chance is planned. It says they can't control us all. So this is back to the people communicating online, something that they're going to want to shut down very soon, bringing famine of the word. It says they can't control us all. Let us have little groups splintering off, doing what we have to do. So the man on WhatsApp group, let's show the effing media that we are not a pushover, and that no more foreigners are allowed into this poxy country. Enough is enough. That is it. The straw that broke the camel's back. You touch our effing kids and these are the repercussions. So like I say, they did this because 3 Irish children were attacked, apparently by a foreigner. It turns out that it was actually just an Irish person that did it. So there's people were urged to flood the centre of Dublin to vent their fury at the attack on the school children. So there's more images of the destruction that they caused in this small area. And scenes like this are going to be all over Babylon the Great America very, very soon. When Babylon the Great America, when it gets to sedition amongst men and Jacob's trouble, famine, uprising of the people, martial law, and then eventually the ICBM missiles, these are the type of scenes that you're going to be witnessing in America from coast to coast. It says get the train, get the bus, but most importantly get to Dublin and stand with your fellow Irish people, one person wrote. Such was the extent of the violence. The Rotunda, a maternity hospital on Parnell Street near the scene of Thursday's stabbing, was forced to tell patients not to travel there unless necessary. Protesters' fury came even before the police had revealed the motivation of the attacker or his ethnicity. The clash with police yelling, "Get them out, get them fucking out," in apparent reference to migrants. The hashtag enough is enough was trending on social media, with one man writing, "I think Ireland has had a gutful of diversity and cultural enrichment, which has led to the attempted murder of 3 young girls in the heart of Dublin." So when America come to restrict this word online, they want to shut down truth being spoken online so they can implement this MOTB. It's going to happen all around the globe. And so when they say to the Irish population, look, we're restricting freedom of speech online, and the people of Ireland are going to say, why? They're going to say, well, because you can see what your own people cause. This is what your own people do. You did this because someone of your own people got stabbed, and this is you standing up to protect it by destroying your own town. So the people of Ireland are gonna accept it. It's gonna be, this MOTB is all around the world. It's all around the globe. and that New World Order, that draconian measure all around the globe, with a one world government. It says the National Party, a tiny far-right anti-immigration party which has no MPs in Parliament, put out a message on X in which men were ordered to man up to make Ireland safe for women and children. The message, which was viewed more than 22,000 times, said, "Are you happy to sit and watch Irish children stabbed, or will you man up and fight back?" The violence unfolded on the streets of the city as a reaction to the stabbing attack in which a man attacked 3 young children with a knife as they came out of their school in the heart of Dublin in the early afternoon. One witness described the scene as absolute bedlam. Another said the kids were out walking. All of a sudden one of them fell to the ground, then another fell, and then another falls to the ground. Then this guy started running past. This is more images of them looting. This is all for them 3 children that got stabbed. This somehow is gonna make their lives better. But what it will do, it will bring in draconian measures and restriction on freedom of speech, which ultimately goes into restriction of this truth being spoken, which falls back into famine of the word, which is coming very soon. It says police initially said there were no political or terrorist motivations to the attack, but at later briefing, the Commissioner of Police said that could not be ruled out. There is speculation that the man may have suffered a psychotic episode, or he is not believed to have a link to the school. Drew Harris, the police commissioner, described the rioting as disgraceful and called the protests a complete lunatic faction driven by far-right ideology. We have seen a group of people who take literally a thimble full of facts and make a bathtub of hateful assumptions, and then conduct themselves in a way which riotous and disruptive to our society, he added. So they made these assumptions and they got it wrong. And you know what they say when you get the word assume? You make an ass out of you and me. That's how you make up the word assume. Ass, you and me. You assume and you end up making an ass out of you and me. And that's what they've done. So, like I say, this, you look at this and you go, well, what's this got to do with the Hebrew Israelites? And what's going on with the Middle East? Well, it has something to do with it. It's freedom of speech online causing problems. And just like the Hebrew Israelites, this is what we're going to be touted with, speaking this truth, causing great fear to fall upon those that hear it, these elites, and in the meantime, the people in between, the people out there, the normal average person, they don't understand this. They don't see it coming. They can't put all these things together, and they're not able to see it. The problem is they're entangled with the affairs of this life. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2 and 3. It says, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach. No man that warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier." So when you come to this truth and you come to the understanding and you wake up to the lies, you're supposed to understand that you're not supposed to entangle yourself with the affairs of this life. We witness what's going on. We see people standing up for various different problems and issues, and we're not supposed to involve ourselves in it. All we do is warn you of it. The banking elites know what's about to happen, and so do the elect of the nation of Israel. The people in between, those that are not of the elect of the nation of Israel, they are lost. And an issue with that is bread and circuses. The people out here today, in the general population, they're too busy occupied with bread and circus. It says, what does the phrase bread and circus mean? It says, something as extravagant entertainment offered as an expedient means of pacifying discontent or diverting attention from the source of grievance. So people, these things are being created, these little uproars, and we're witnessing the events building up and accumulating, and they all come together at the same time, especially in America. But the meantime, people stand up, they fight for these things. These people will riot on a Thursday night in Ireland, and then Friday morning, Saturday morning, they go back to work, and then they're occupied with the things that are, says it, extravagant entertainment. So people are like, it says here, extravagant entertainment. So people are, people of this world, they're too busy occupied with the music, with the sports world, with the fashion world, with the movie world, and with all these different things that are happening. And ultimately, you've got some people that stand up, they fight for these things. You've got some people that are blinded to it. They just keep going to work, coming home, earning their money, and living their mini little life. And so a lot of these people can't really see what's happening. And it's down to the fact that this power system, this beast system that comes in, many philosophies, it brings many ancient philosophies to it and pushes them forth. One of those things is bread and circuses from the Roman Empire. And that is to offer the masses of people extravagant entertainment offered as an expedient means of pacifying discontent or diverting attention from the source of grievance. So you've got Christmas coming up, and all the problems going on in the world, and what are they going to do to the westernized people? They're going to give them Christmas to pacify them, and that will keep them quiet for the next month, next 6 weeks. And that's all people are thinking about. I've got to do this for Christmas, I've got to get that, I've got to get this. Then the day comes, then they get their gifts, then they want to go and visit their family members, which is, it's okay to visit people, but that whole event, Christmas, will pacify the masses of the westernized population for the next 6 weeks, month to 6 weeks. So, it is part of the bread and circuses. Don't forget the religion of Christianity is set up by the banking elites and given to their masses of people to occupy them, while they themselves worship to Satan. They worship Satan, so they don't even follow that religion. And here they are calling on Satan, and they get given these wicked plans and these ideas in how to manipulate the people and keep them under control, which is what they've got you. But yet they gave the masses of the westernized population Christianity, and they said that's what God's all about. So people are pacified with it. They put on these extravagant displays, Christmas shows, lights in the streets, all these type of things. These, even TV will just ramp up a gear for Christmas and start putting on Christmas shows, and all this is bread and circus. It will just keep the people occupied in it. People aren't even worried about the thought of the Most High in Christianity anymore. They're just worried about living their lives while being a Christian. And but Christmas is coming, and what can I get? What can I give? And all that kind of stuff. So it all comes back to that. Just reading on it here quickly. Bread and circuses is a metonymic phrase referring to superficial appeasement. It is attributed to Juvenal, a Roman poet active in the late 1st and early 2nd century AD, and used commonly in cultural, particularly political contexts. In a political context, the phrase means to generate public approval, not by excellence in public service or public policy, but by diversion, distraction, or by satisfying the most immediate or base requirements of populace, by offering a palliative, for example, food, bread, or entertainment, circuses. So these people are going to be occupied with Christmas. That's going to die down. They're going to get over that through January, and then Valentine's is going to come. Then they're going to be occupied with that. The month of Valentine's, they're going to be going for all these extravagant lengths to fulfill that, and then it dies down in March, and then something will happen. There'll be a birthday in April, and then it's May Day in May, and then it's 4th of July in July, and then it just carries on. And so, there's many things. Like I say, the sports world, the music world, people that are obsessed with their idols, these musical idols, and they just follow them around all the time to these concerts. I mean, I watch football. There's nothing wrong with watching a football game once or twice a week for an hour and a half. But, I'm not going to drag myself to every single match, every single game, go and buy the shirts, put the guy's name on my back. Idolization, I'm not going to follow all that. It's too keeps your mind too occupied. I don't want to occupy my mind with that. Rather occupy my mind with this truth and being aware with it, so I can actually watch and see what's happening. See these events coming, through the spirit of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. So don't get caught up in the bread and circuses. We understand what's going on. Those speaking this word and the elites of the Edomite Empire, they understand what's going on. Fear has fallen upon them from hearing us, so they're starting to ramp up, and they got to get these things done very quickly. And they're bringing in these false flags and these events, and ultimately they're going to restrict freedom of speech. They're going to restrict freedom of movement, and laws are going to become more draconian, especially when this MOTB hits. That's the ultimate draconian law, and you're going to have people speaking up against the governments, uprisings, civil wars, so on and so forth. This is all part of the time of Jacob's trouble. Like I keep saying, we have a very short time left. We may have like a year and a half, 2 years max left in this society, yet we have many, many events, great judgment. A lot of people have to be judged, and a lot of events have to happen between now and then. A lot of things, with these, we talk about these two main prophecies, the MOTB and the Third World War, before the deliverance. But there's so many daily occurrences that have to take place for these prophecies to be fulfilled, and it's going to get real hectic. That's what we keep saying, 2024. Now, hold on. This is, before I go, this is Ezekiel chapter 3, a commission given to Ezekiel to speak on behalf of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, which is what we do. But at some point, the Most High sends out his prophets to warn the population, and at some point that warning stops, and then it's action time, and that action time is very soon, and it coincides with the famine of the word. That will be the point at which Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, he'll put the spirit on the Edomites to fulfill this, restrict freedom of speech online, and that's when the prophets will be withdrawn. That's when we find out if the Most High is dealing with you. And just same way he's told Ezekiel, it will be the same for any other person that is a prophet of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. It says, this is Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 24, says, and the Spirit entered into me and set me upon my feet and spake with me and said unto me, go shut thyself within thine house. But thou, O son of man, behold, they shall put bands upon thee, and shall bind thee with them, and thou shalt not go out among them. And I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, that thou shalt be dumb, and thou shalt not be to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious house. But when I speak with thee, I will open my mouth, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith Yahweh, he that heareth, let him hear. He that forbeareth, let him forbear. For they are a rebellious house. So we've been out here, we've given you these warnings, and when they try to restrict this freedom of speech online, that will be the Most High withdrawing the prophets, and that's when the warning stops, and that's when real all hell starts to break loose. So that's coming very soon. So you need to get this word in the meantime. But like I say, these little events, these mini events that are happening all around the globe, they all roads lead to the MOTB, whether it's financial cost of living crisis, whether it's the situation with the immigrants people being let in, people struggling for money, kicking off about foreigners coming into the country. Now you've got a situation with the small hats. Whose side are you on? And then this is now going to filter down towards the Hebrew Israelites and speaking this truth. And when we speak this truth, we tell you that these things are happening because the banking elites are bringing order out of chaos, and they don't want that circle of events to keep going round. So at some point they're going to stop it. So keep your eye on all these events. Like I say, they're all building up, they're all leading up, and Lord willing, 2024 is going to get very hectic according to prophecy. Not that 2023 wasn't. 2023 is the hopeful year of prophecy coming to pass, and you've seen a hell of a lot of prophecies come to pass, major ones. and the whole world is witnessing it. It's not just a little prophecy that someone took place and one person witnessed it over here or over there. This is an event. These are events. You know, the Ukraine situation with the small hats, so on and so forth. The whole world is witnessing these. So we're in that time, and so 2024, you know, it can only go up a level. It can't go down a level. This is a build-up to a crescendo, time of Jacob's trouble, and then the return of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. So I hope that's edifying. I'm going to leave it right there. Until next time, all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.